Good afternoon. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Debbie Danford from craftyyourcreations.blogspot.com. And if you watched my video on Tuesday, which I will put a link to that video down below just in case you missed it, this week I am showcasing the sorry, I have it stuck on the top, the Etched Autumn stamp set. This is my bonus class for September with my monthly club. And on Tuesday, we stamped on designer series paper. Let me grab those really quick, just in case you missed them. So we stamped on designer series paper and we did a cute little fun fold. And I used the in colors, the 2024 to 2026 in colors. These are the ones we made on the video. That one I didn't put my greeting on yet because the one I had die cut, or the one I had prepped and ready to go, it didn't fit because originally I did a standard layout of cards and then I decided to switch it up a little bit. But just to show you, and this is on the 2024 to 2026 in color designer series paper. So quick, easy cards to make. Today, what I decided to do was some ink blending because I love to do ink blending. It's one of my favorite things to do, that and watercoloring. And yeah, I just love adding a lot of ink and then stamping. I think it adds a lot of dimension to cards. So I made this one, which is Granny Apple Green, Lemon Lime Twist, and Daffodil Delight. And I couldn't decide which one we should make today, but I went ahead and went with this one. So let's put this aside, and I'm going to bring in the colors. And this is so easy to make. I mean, you're going to be like, and the sky's the limit as to what color combinations you could do. So I pulled out Old Olive, Lost Lagoon, and Pretty Peacock. And although when you look at the card here, it does have a yellowish tint kind of to it, I think that's coming from the Old Olive because I definitely wanted to use all green, and then I stamped it in Pretty Peacock. So anyway, we're going to make this one, and I'm going to show you how I did it. Not that there's no right or wrong in how you do ink blending, and everybody might do it a little bit different. I'm going to start with a 4x5 1/4 piece, even though we're going to cut it down to 3 3/4 by 5. I want a strip for the inside because then you can just take that extra little 1/4 inch strip and you can put it on the inside, and then the inside of your card is all decorated too. Now, I like to work on my glass mat because it's just so easy. I'm going to slide it up just a little bit. It's so easy for cleanup, and you can blend on it. If you don't have a glass mat, you can just use, put down your grid paper or whatever. That works too. It doesn't matter. And sometimes I bring in my grid paper. It just depends. Blending brushes. I'm using 3 different blending brushes. If you don't have as many, all you have to do is clean them off just a little bit, like on a piece of a paper towel or something, where you can clean off the ink and then go to your next color. I'm going to ink it up. I hold mine. I know people that hold theirs like this, whatever's comfortable. I hold mine like this because I have more control over it. I always tell everybody, start off the edge before you go onto your paper, because you don't want to end up with this big blotch from just plopping it down. Okay, so, and I didn't cover the whole thing, if you notice. I'm just going around, no rhyme or reason as to where. I'm just adding ink. Okay, then we're going to add the Lost Lagoon. Okay, now Pretty Peacock is a little bit darker, so you want to be careful as to how much you actually put down here, because you don't want it to take over when it comes to the color here. And I'm going around the edges with the Pretty Peacock also. You could go around the edges with any of the colors, it doesn't matter. But you see how the Old Olive looks yellow now when it's up against these other colors, which I like that part. So I'm going to come back in and I'm going to add a little bit more of the Old Olive because I want a little bit more of that to shine through. and maybe a little bit more of Pretty Peacock. Okay, I think that looks good, just like that. So I'm going to move the brushes out of the way. I am going to close all but the Pretty Peacock up because we're going to use that to stamp our greeting with too. All right, and then if you're worried about getting ink on your rest of your card when you lay it out, you just wipe it off with a paper towel. Now I'll go back with a wet chamois when we're done, but I've got the bulk of it off. Okay, so there we've got our base down. Now, if you're using the glass mat, I use this as my block because it works really good with bigger bold stamps like this. If you don't have this, you can just use the big, let's see, which one is this? F block works. Or if you have a Stamparatus, that works too. Now I'm going to ink it up with Pretty Peacock. And if you live local, I do a class once a month at the Stille Valley Community Center at Smoky Point. And we're going to make one of these cards. It's next Wednesday is the class. And I haven't decided what color combination we're going to make yet. And maybe I'll come up with a different one. Haven't decided. But we are going to make one of these cards in the afternoon class. Okay, I'm just laying it down. Now what I do is I do bring in a scrap piece. And then I just use a block. This one has a stamp on. I think this will be the greeting we might use for this one instead of just a note. But you can use your hands, you can use whatever you want to just kind of rub that out. When it's a big bold stamp, I like leaving it laying flat and then putting your card on top of it. Seems to work better. Seems to work better for a lot of people because sometimes it's hard to manhandle the big block. And then I just stick my finger in there and pull that out, and look at that. Isn't that so pretty? Oh my gosh. I just love how it turns out. That's why I said I think I'm going to come up with some more color combinations, and maybe we'll do a different color combination for next Wednesday's class. But if you live local, you are welcome to come. Just, you do need to let me know ahead of time. You do have to pre-register either with the Stille Valley Center or with me, either one. I was hoping this would fit. I'm going to stamp it on the back and see if it fits. If not, I will just use I'm going to use the same thing I already used because that's what I have out. I just happen to have that other one out because it goes with the Charming Day bundle, which I've been working on for my monthly club. So I'll just do just a note. And it barely fits. I used the Spotlight on Nature dies, which I love those circles, and I haven't used them in a while, so I thought it was kind of nice to pull them back in. All right, let's see. I have a little bit left. I think hopefully that's enough. Otherwise, I'll have to grab a new roll of the white baker's twine. Let's do a little bit of assembly here. Easy peasy to put together. Now, before we attach this, I'm actually going to move that stamp out of the way. It's got ink on it. Let me bring in my parts and pieces. This piece of Pretty Peacock was cut a little bit smaller. I think it's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. But I had a piece in my drawer that was 4 by 5 1/4 that I grabbed this time. So we're just going to go with that. And then this right now is the same size, but we're going to trim it down. So let me grab my trimmer. And what I'm going to do is trim off the 5 1/4 side. So the longer side, I'm going to trim that down to 3 3/4. 3 3/4 here. And that'll give us that little strip for the inside, which I think I forgot to grab a piece of white. Dang it. And then this will go to 5. But that way that strip is long enough. And that's pretty much garbage. That's how I look at it. Okay, so there's that. Now what we're going to do is some assembly. Let me see if I do have a white piece. Oh, I do. So I do have a piece for our inside. So this is going to go on the inside. So let's go ahead and attach that. Let me find my glue. My desk right now, if you guys could see it, oh my gosh, it's like something exploded on it. I just had to clean off the area here. I had team meeting this morning, and we did a make and take this morning, so I had that out. And now we're doing like a show and tell, I guess you could call it, or spotlighting. I'm not sure what we're going to call it exactly, but we're sharing what we've been working on or sharing tips and tricks with suites or bundles that we might have that, sometimes we get a set that, it might have some tricks to it for die cutting, and sometimes we all don't know what they are right away. So it's always kind of nice to share those ideas. So yeah, it was great. Everybody shared some projects and it was a good day. But I had all that stuff out, and I've been working on finishing up the projects I'm creating for my monthly club. So that's out also. A lot going on here in the crafting world, or at least in my crafting world. All right. Let's attach that here. I mean, it's a simple card to put together. It's just a basic layout. It's just what you do with that stamp, right? Okay. Now, if you wanted to, you could go back and add more of another color. Once you had stamped your once you had stamped the Etched Autumn on top, if you wanted to, if you were like, oh, maybe I want a little bit more, maybe I want it darker or a little bit lighter, you can go back and do that. You could also go back and do some coloring with Stampin' Blends if you wanted to, or the Stampin' Right markers or a blender pen. Any of those things also would be, which I had kind of thought about doing. I thought maybe I should stamp it like this and then take some of the Stampin' Blends and do some coloring. But I liked how they came out, so I kind of just kept it very simple. Sometimes simple's good. Okay. Let's see if this piece is going to end up to be big enough. I just did this little quick fold, kind of like this. Like, I don't have a right or wrong on how to attach ribbon or baker's twine or any of that. It's all a preference on how you want to put it on. That looks pretty good. I am going to put a piece of adhesive over that. There we go. And then let's just grab some dimensionals here. Got a brand new pack I just started. All right, so let's add some dimensionals, and then we are almost done with this card. That's why I said it is quick, easy. The hardest part is, well, and I won't say it's hard, just getting your ink down, and the hardest part is probably picking out what colors ink you want to use, honestly. But I was thinking I might do maybe some yellows and oranges instead of like the yellow and green. We're getting into that fall time, so. And let's see, I'm going to put it right down here, I think. And then I brought in, so with both of these, let me bring in the other one so you can see it. I used the iridescent faceted gems, which are on the last chance list, which I'm really sad to see that they're going away because I love these. I might have to just get some to use anyway. I colored it with the dark Pretty Peacock Stampin' Blends. I'm going to put one big one on. I'm trying to use up the rest of these. That's why I'm coloring from 2 different packs here. But I love these gems. And they color up so nice. Let's just add a few of these. And there we go. Let's get the glue out of the way, Debbie. And let's do a little crease on our card here really quick. And there is today's card. Very similar, but this one looks like it's a little bit lighter than how this one turned out. But like I said, every time you do it, it's all going to be a little bit different. All right, thank you so much for joining me today, and please make sure you like, follow, and share depending on where you're watching, if it's out on Facebook or YouTube, either one of the places. I post in both places, so Crafty Your Creations with Debbie on Facebook and YouTube. I make it easy. Can't forget, right? And if you have any questions about the projects today or any of my upcoming classes, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I will be back again next Tuesday with a new bundle. I haven't decided what yet. I'm going to spotlight, but I'm thinking it might be Charming Day, but I haven't decided. So I will be back again next week with another spotlight bundle or stamp set, depending on what it is. Anyway, everybody have a great weekend, and I will see you all again on Tuesday. Bye, guys.